If you're not listening to the Smoke World podcast, you're wasting your time, you mortal.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass, whatever you're drinking. Let's sit back and have a conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com. Folks, I've been telling you about this every episode. I know you get tired of me telling you about the website. Yep, I'm going to beat you in the head with the website. Go check out the website. Again, we got some great sponsors. SmokeWorldPodcast.com. I got cigar deals going on there. I want you to check them out. Again, they support me, so we're going to support them. Today, that's right, folks, today's episode, I got my favorite cigar. I caught these guys. I caught them. I chased them down. I ran across traffic. Almost got locked up, but nonetheless, I have Stolen Thrones representing my brother JR. What's up, brother? What's going on with you, man?
Hey, I'm just trying to outrun the rain right now there, Stone.
Oh, man, yeah, it is that kind of day. You know, I'm sleepy, and I've been telling folks I might need some Prevagen. I don't know, brother. I don't know what's going on today. It's that kind of day today, man. So how you feeling, man? You know, you out in the rain, you driving about. What you doing?
I'm feeling well. I was, it's either stand out in the rain and the heat or sit inside. So I decided to drive over to North Suffolk Cigar Lounge, sit inside their VIP room, and chill out for a little while and talk to one of my best friends here and talk with you, buddy.
Oh, that sounds nice, brother. So here on my show, I normally get a little demographics. I like to kind of get to know who we're talking to. So give us a little background on you. Where you from?
Well, for a very short stint, I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. My dad's a Marine, so we moved up quickly to Norfolk, and then moved from Norfolk to Virginia Beach, and spent most of my life in Virginia Beach. Went to all through all my schools, graduated from high school in Virginia Beach, and then I met my current wife, and she lived in Norfolk. I lived down between if anyone knows the area, between Sandbridge and Virginia Beach, the tourist Virginia Beach. And she could get up in the morning and get ready and be to work in 15 minutes. She said, I am not moving all the way down to where you are. So one of us has got to move. So we got married, and I moved into Norfolk. I've been in Norfolk for a little over 15 years now.
Wow.
But, you know, Norfolk's a good spot. We live in an area called Ghent, and I can walk to almost any place I want to go in Ghent. Very nice area. I love the area in Norfolk. Some people don't like Norfolk. I love it. I've worked for 42 years with a place called Hampton Roads Sanitation District, and I retired from there, and that's where I met my partner, Lee Marsh, and where the inception of starting a cigar company came about. Lee and I used to sit around and talk about what we would do differently about cigars. If we owned our own company, what would we do differently? And we'd go back and forth to each other's offices. And it was funny because I retired and we continued to talk about starting a cigar company. And one day, I think we were in his lounge, and I said, you know what? We got to shit or get off the pot, or else I'm going to be dead and you're going to be talking about starting a cigar company at my funeral. So we must have talked about doing research and stuff for a couple of years. Not just talking about it. I mean, we were doing research, you know, going to Nicaragua, talking to other cigar company owners, talking with blenders, and it's amazing how giving cigar company owners are. They are very friendly, very eager to talk with you. They're eager to help you. Most of them are very eager to help you and talk with you. I can count on one hand the people that have not been forthcoming and very friendly and eager to talk with you. Now, they're not going to sit down and give you their percentages on their blends, obviously, but they'll talk about their experiences with you and things of that nature. But there was 2 years before we ever even incorporated, which we did in December of 2018. But it's been a great ride for us even before we even started. One of the things we did to dive into it, I went to work part-time at a cigar shop, Atlantic Dominion Cigar Shop, which is no longer in existence. I went part-time to work in a cigar shop to learn that side of the cigar industry so we could understand what a cigar shop was expecting from cigar owners. So we learned as much as we could possibly learn about cigar industry. When we were learning about cigars and the cigar side, one of the things that was very important to us was we wanted to blend our own cigars. We didn't want to go to somebody and tell them what the cigar we wanted to taste like and then come back to us and give us a cigar. We actually wanted to sit down ourselves and blend a cigar and sink or swim on what we had done. And amazingly enough, that's not a simple task as far as getting someone to allow you to do that. Most of these cigar manufacturers, they're not willing to let you do that. They want you to buy their cigars they already have in stock. And I don't necessarily blame them. They're in business to sell cigars. They're not in business to start up other companies.
Right.
So we stumbled across Noel Rojas, and we contacted Noel Rojas, talked to him, told him what we were interested in doing, and he said, "Sure, come on to Texas and talk with me and see what we can work out between us." And if you think about it, that's less work for him to do. I mean, he doesn't have to sit down and blend cigars. We're blending it ourselves, and if it's a flop, it's not his flop. But Noel is the greatest partner we could have imagined hooking up with. He's a great person. He's a fantastic blender. He has cigars on his side that he blends, the Rojas blend, but he allows us to just go crazy on what we're doing. He's obviously there for us for advice, but he's just a fantastic person to work with. He's had us into his house. He's had us stay at his house. He's a fantastic person. We could not have found a better person to work with than Noel Rojas. I myself have personally only blended, I hate to admit this, but one cigar on my own, which won't be released until January. Lee is truly the mastermind behind blending our cigars. I'm there. I was there for the Crook. I did ask toward the end. This is a big joke on our part. If you sit around as we're drinking, talking about the history of Stolen Throne, toward the end of it, they said, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, could we add a little more Condega? And both Noel and Lee looked at me and simultaneously said, "No."
Now I got to rewind, brother. I sat quietly and listened to you. You're talking a lot of knowledge, but I got to rewind to the beginning of what you said. You worked at your job for 42 years.
I did.
What were you doing? What was your title?
Well, I retired as the chief procurement officer. I ran the procurement office, which is a fancy name for purchasing.
I'm familiar. Okay, so you worked at this job. Now, is that where you met your partner? Did he work at the same job?
He did. When he first started out, he was working in HR, and I'm a big Ravens fan, and he's a big Baltimore Ravens fan. And one of the young ladies hooked us up because they said, "Hey, we just hired somebody in here, and they're a big Ravens fan." So we got to talking, and once we found out each other were Ravens fans, we became friends right away. And I was a member of a local cigar club that I invited him to come on out, and we started attending the weekly cigar club meetings or gatherings. I don't know what you call them, meetings, gatherings, smoke-a-thons.
All right, so hold on. Like I said, this story, you glossing over some stuff I think is really major. So your coworker, you sit back, he comes in, he's a Raven fan, you're a Raven fan, like, hey, guess what? JR, you got a new employee. He likes the Ravens. Okay, he should be cool. You go and meet him, you tell him you smoke cigars. Now, how long had you been smoking cigars, JR?
You know what? This goes back, I cannot remember the exact number of years, but I do remember it was way back when my brother-in-law was a Chesapeake police officer. He's moved on now to the ATF, but he was involved in a shooting and was on administrative leave, and we had to sit. We didn't have to. We sat, drank beer, and smoked cigars. It was before that, so it's good. It's a good 30 years.
Oh, okay. So you've been smoking for a while. Now, how about now your partner? Now, did he smoke or you didn't know? You just say, hey, man, you know what? You're a cool guy. You like the Ravens, so you got to be all right. Listen, I smoke cigars. Won't you come hang out with me? What did he say?
Stone, I don't remember how cigars even came up into the conversation, but somehow that cigars came up in our conversation, and that's when I invited him out to the cigar club smoke-a-thon that we would have, weekly cigar meeting that we had. But honestly, I can't remember how it came up in our conversation that I smoke cigars and did he smoke cigars.
Okay, so he did smoke cigars at that time. So you take him to the meeting.
Oh yeah, he smoked cigars. I know he smoked cigars at least 20 years now.
Okay, now what was you smoking back then? Did you have a go-to, or was you all over the place?
At that point, I was all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you said that because I sure don't either, brother. I just know I enjoy that relaxation moment to light up a stick and get my head cleared. That's all I do know.
I still smoke all over the place. I don't just smoke our stuff. It would be ludicrous to just smoke our stuff. I need to know there are so many good cigars out there that it wouldn't make sense to just smoke our stuff. Everybody's putting out, not everybody, but there are so many cigars that are being put out that are really good. Old stuff, and there's some really new good stuff being put out now that you need to smoke. And I would encourage anybody that smokes cigars to smoke different brands because there are really good cigars that are out there.
Absolutely. You definitely got to expand your palate, go out there, try something new. It's like eating apple pie every day. It's like, okay, I love apple pie, but hey, there's some other pies out here too. There's some other stuff like cake, cookies, pudding. It's other things you can get into.
Yeah, Stone, the worst thing you can do is to smoke one thing and only one thing because you'll destroy your palate.
True. Very true. Very true. But now you just kind of glossed over where you guys are co-workers. And in the street terms, you say, don't talk about it, be about it. You guys actually had a conversation about cigars like, hey, man, you know what? We should start our own cigar. And what do you think it would taste like? I don't know. But just the fact that you had that idea and that concept, and this is at work, and you actually made it happen, and you actually put a staple and a name on the cigar business with this particular cigar. So you kind of smoothed over it real nice. This is major, brother. I love this cigar. And you guys are sitting at work, HR, procurement, relaxing, going to different clubs, and you guys create a monster of a cigar. All right, so you create the cigar. Well, let's not. We moving too fast, man, because we're glossing over too much stuff here. So, how do you meet the blender? How does that come about? You at the cigar club or something? Who does somebody tell you about your blender and say, look, I got a blender. If you guys are really serious, I got somebody for you. How did that whole thing come about?
Well, we did a lot of research. We found Noel had some really success in the stuff that he'd been blending. He'd had a factory in Nicaragua, and then he was blending stuff in Texas as well. And we decided, really, this is someone we really need to get in touch with. So we contacted him. We actually called him and had a conversation with him about what we wanted to do. And he said, definitely, this is something that I am interested in working with you on. So he said, why don't you come to Texas and we'll sit down and we'll talk in more depth.
Okay.
And
so hold on. See, now, JR, so you're telling this story just like it's nothing, man. People are listening to this thing right now like, wait a minute. This Stolen Throne is a banger. This Stolen Throne is a banger. And you're just moving on with this story like it's nothing. I got a lot of questions here because at the end of the day, you get in contact with Noel. Was he your first blender you got in contact with? Are you looking for a new platform to connect with other cigar smokers, consumers, lounges, and brands while escaping tobacco-related rules of other social media platforms? Then look no further. Stogie Lives, the new social media platform for cigar lovers created by a female. So come join Stogie Lives, STOGIELIVES.com, where every cigar lover has a place to connect.
no, actually, Lee had been looking around for a lot of different people that wanted to, or a lot of people that are blenders. There's not a lot, several. The problem was people didn't want to allow us to blend our own cigar.
Well, now what did you guys know about blending? Did you even know how to blend a cigar? You was a smoker.
No.
So
Right.
where
Exactly.
you learn how to blend?
We learned on the run.
Okay, so here's the thing. So you get in contact with Noel. I'm the blender. Let's say I'm the blender. And you guys are random guys calling. So, hey, I want to make my own cigar. I'm like, I don't know you guys from a can of spray paint. Who are you? Hey, yeah, this is me. I'm JR. It's my partner. We love cigars. Yeah, so does every other couple million people. Who are you guys? So I'm just trying to figure out how that conversation went down. You get in contact with Noel, and he says, oh, okay. He don't ask you guys like, well, who are you? You do what? He didn't give you the crooked eye and ask you a whole bunch of questions like, you guys are trying to do what? How did you guys find me? He didn't give you none of that.
Well, it helped that Lee has had a very good reputation in the cigar industry for knowing good cigars. Island Jim is a very good friend of Lee's. And I'm sure Noel just didn't sit back and go, who are these guys? He did his research behind the scenes, checking us out. Now, if he'd contacted people about me, the only thing he'd have found out is, oh, this guy works at a...
He works at the company. I don't know this guy. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what this guy does. Actually, he worked 42 years as a head of procurement. He worked at a cigar shop. But Lee now, this guy seems to be in the know with a lot of different cigar people. So I'm certain that his conversations behind the scenes, Lee's reputation got us in the door. Okay, so Lee was the man who had the name recognition, you're saying. He was a little bit more known, so he didn't have to send his resume. They wanted to see your resume. They're like, hey, who's this guy? He worked 42 years. What does he know about cigars? I don't know this guy.
Yeah,
so Lee was your point man.
Right, and actually, if you think about it, in the cigar industry, you're not looking at resumes, you're looking at word of mouth.
Right. I'm just teasing on that. Yeah, it's like, tell this guy to send his resume. We don't know him.
Yeah. What does this guy know? Who does he know? Does he have a good reputation? So that's what really got us in the door and got Noel to agree to sit down and meet with us.
Okay, so you guys sit down, have this meeting, and you tell them the concept, the idea that you and Lee have. So, what was the concept and idea? What type of smoke were you guys looking for? What was it? A full body? But did you guys have some similar palettes?
Lee and I do have similar palettes. It's funny because Lee is a big Habano guy. So we really should have come out of that first blending session with a Habano, but we've learned through past experiences that this is going to sound really corny, but Lee lets the tobacco do the talking to him. Like, he doesn't go in there closed-minded, like say, okay, I'm going in there today and I am going to blend a Sumatra.
Okay.
So it's not closed-minded. He has all the tobaccos lined up, and as he goes smoking down the line, whatever comes out is the leading edge. That's what's going to happen.
Nice.
Whatever. He is becoming a master at his craft. Now I don't know what it takes, but he is definitely on his way to becoming a master of his craft. Now, he's only been doing it 2 years, so people are going to guffaw at me when I say that. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. When we went down, I went there specifically to blend a Connecticut. We had talked, and neither of us really cared for Connecticut's. I didn't care for Connecticut's strength. I didn't care that Connecticut's weren't full-bodied. I didn't care that the Connecticut smoked all the same all the way through. So the intent on the Connecticut was, when we blended it, was we want to make a Connecticut that was not your father's Connecticut.
Okay.
So that was a difference on that one. We went there specifically to blend a Connecticut. But if you look at Lee, he goes there with, all right, here's all this tobacco. Let me see what comes out as I go through it as to what type of cigar I'm going to end up with. Now, I believe he could go in there and say, okay, I'm going to blend this certain cigar, but that's not the way he does that. Now, our mindset on our cigars is we don't want to blend a cigar that you can compare to another one. We came out with the Crook, the Crook of the Crown. When we came out with the second cigar, we didn't want someone to look back at it and say, well, let me compare it. There's no comparison to the two cigars.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And with the third cigar we're coming out with, the Three Kingdoms, the Habano, he finally got his Habano. You're not going to be able to compare this cigar, the Three Kingdoms, with the other two.
Okay.
There's no comparison.
You're putting out some secret information. So you got another cigar coming up, Three Kingdoms. When is that coming?
Within the next 30 days, the Three Kingdoms will be released.
Whoa. So you dropping?
And I'm hoping it's the next couple weeks, but I'm going to say within the next 30 days.
Oh, hear that, folks? You got some information here. Three Kingdoms. Three Kingdoms. You saying that's going to be that Habano?
That's a Habano, yes.
Nice. Okay, so let's go back to the Crook of the Crown, because that's my favorite, at least right now. I'm not really a big Habano person.
Listen to you.
Yeah, definitely. That Crook of the Crown, man, that's what we call a street banger. So, Crook of the Crown, you guys meet with Noel, and does he let you do your own thing? You kind of sit down and kind of explain to him your palate, or does he say, hey, you know what, here's some leaves, go at it? How does that play out?
He did. He sat on one side of a table. He laid out the leaves on the table, and then we sat on the other side of the table and started sending around the little paretos where the little rolled up pieces of leaves to smoke and figure out what taste we would get out of the leaves. So he let us do the blending. Now, as you can see from, if you remember back to what I said, most of my input was, can you add a little more Condega? And I was voted out. But yeah, no, he left it up to us. He let us do the blending. When I say us, it's a general consensus of Lee. But yeah, he let us do the blending from the very beginning.
Man, well, you guys came up with a banger there, brother. I don't know if that was luck or I don't know. I don't know because this story is amazing. You guys.
We had another cigar company that was there with us that are very good friends of ours, and they just happened to be there, and they tasted at the end, and they said, "If you do not want this cigar,
we would take
want
it. Absolutely.
We want it."
Yeah, they was probably jealous. Like, man, we should have sat down first. Damn it! Why you let these guys sit down first? Oh man! All right, so then you got the Crook of the Crown on the market. It's doing amazing things. People are loving it, getting a lot of talk. So, what's the thought process now? You say, you know what? We need a second cigar. You come up with the call to arms. How did that come about? What was that story? Now, you guys got a little bit more experience now. So, who's doing what? What role did you play?
With the Sumatra, I actually let me think of the Sumatra. We do all of our blending in Texas, but the Sumatra, I was not there. Lee totally blended Sumatra on his own, which, to be quite honest, Lee really does the blending on our cigars.
Okay.
He just has this natural instinct for blending. I could not have partnered up with a better person. I partnered up with my coworker. I partnered up with my best friend. It's just, I just lucked out. But
Wow.
Our thought process was, we wanted to come up with a cigar that was totally different than the Crook. The Crook being a Mexican San Andreas Maduro. Now, if you remember, back when, Mexican San Andreas didn't used to be popular.
You're right.
You know, it used to be if someone saw Mexican San Andreas, they weren't going to smoke it.
That's very true.
But we were very fortunate on this Mexican San Andreas. And I'll tell you a little story behind it when we're done with the. Just don't let me forget to tell you the story about the Mexican San Andreas
Oh, I won't.
wrapper.
I definitely won't let you do that.
But the second cigar, Call to Arms, we wanted it to be totally different, that people could not sit down and say, well, you know, compared to the Crook, well, no, there is no comparison. We didn't want any comparison. And that's the mindset we have and are going to continue to have on our core line cigars in the future. We don't want to have a core line cigar that you can compare to another one. I'm not saying other companies are doing it wrong. I'm just saying we're doing it differently.
And you're doing it great. You're doing a great job. You guys are actually doing an excellent job. So, out of curiosity, how many cigars you think will be in your lineup? Or is it something that really hasn't been discussed yet? You go with the flow.
No, like I said, we have the Three Kingdoms we're coming out with, the Habano. And then we're going to stop with 3 core lines, at least for a while. And what we'll be doing is releasing limited editions. And when we release a limited edition, it truly will be limited. We won't do a limited edition and 9 months later come out with more of that cigar. If you see us come out with a limited edition and you want it, you'll need to buy it then, because there will not be any more. We will not be producing any more of them.
Okay. Now,
And
how often
that
you
is,
guys put that out? You think? How often would that be? Or that hasn't been discussed yet.
well, like the Phantom Queen that's coming out in January, the Connecticut. I'm thinking we'll probably release. We haven't really discussed how often we're going to do limited editions. I'm probably thinking a couple times a year.
Okay. Okay.
But it's important for people to know that a limited edition, when it's released, that's all we're going to do.
Right.
We're not going to re-release them. I know there are some companies that will do limited editions and then they'll re-release them, and that's fine for their model. Our model is different. We believe that if we release a limited edition and people put out their hard-earned money on it, they shouldn't have to come back 9 months later and go, geez, if I'd known you were going to release them again, I wouldn't have bought
16 boxes.
I'd have just bought one box.
I wouldn't have bought 20 boxes of these babies.
So I'm not saying our way is the best way. I'm not saying their way is the best way. I'm just saying our way is a different way of doing it.
Gotcha. So right now, where can folks go find the lovely Stolen Throne cigars?
Well, it depends on where you are. You're in Delaware. Where have you been buying yours?
Oh man, all the stores up here have them. Now the question, I guess, are you guys online? Can we do a purchase online? Do you have a website? Could we go and order from a StolenThroneCigar.com scenario, or is this pretty much in retailers?
The only online distributor is Cigar Federation, and we did that intentionally. We only wanted to have one online distributor, and it sort of matches up with our marketing model. We don't want to over inundate the market. It's like, you remember back in the day, some people won't recognize a 7-Eleven, but 7-Elevens were popping up on every corner.
Yeah, like the Wawas are now.
Wawas. Well, years later, they've had to start closing them because, well, why do I need to go to this 7-Eleven? I can go to that 7. All you're doing is diluting the market.
Yes.
We try to help our brick and mortars be successful as possible, which in turn makes us successful. So because we have a partnership with them, so we don't put our cigars in every brick and mortar. We look at where a brick and mortar is, and then we look at places around them, and we don't put our cigars in other brick and mortars around them to help that one brick and mortar become as successful as possible with our cigar. And it's the same thing with the online. So Cigar Federation has our online.
Okay.
And we've been very successful with them, and they've been very successful with us.
Well, I bet they have. Like I said, because that cigar, I love that cigar. I mean, I've been getting a lot of feedback out in the streets. Folks are loving that cigar. And I know at one point you guys had some issues that was going on with the weather, and I was fiending. You had me fiending for a few months because it wasn't available.
Yes, we had problems with 2 hurricanes in Nicaragua, and then with the COVID in Nicaragua, and we had distribution
That's right,
issues.
But you made it back to
track
yeah,
now.
you made it back, buddy. I was waiting, steadily waiting, sitting there waiting for my money that I earned. I said, I'm going to buy these cigars as soon as they come out. Boom, and that's exactly what I did. So you talk
I know
about
it'll be too late for your listeners, but Thursday, Cigar Federation is going to be dropping the War Council that we put out. And if you know anything about Cigar Federation, they drop it in the morning, and they're sold within minutes.
See, okay.
And that's a special cigar we blended for them.
Well, you guys are good. Yeah, you guys got your hands in a little bit of everything. Okay, I see you, JR. You're making moves. I like that.
And this Sunday at Winston's Humidor in Midlothian, Virginia, they're going to be releasing the Argos, which is a cigar that part of the donations go towards dog rescue.
Okay. Good
that
stuff.
we blended for them.
Good stuff. All right, so you guys are doing some stuff behind the scenes too. Okay, I like that.
A little bit. This
Yeah.
is the second Argos. We released it last year for their anniversary, and this is their another anniversary, and we're doing the Argos again for them. They sold out the last time.
Nice, nice. Now, for folks who are listening, getting all excited and like, man, I need to make sure I keep up with these guys. Do you have some social media? You have a Facebook page, you have Instagram. Do you have any of that kind of good stuff so folks can kind of follow and find what's going on?
Yeah, Stone, we are. Very good question. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram.
And it's just under Stolen Throne Cigars?
It's under Stolen Throne Cigars. Both of them are on Stolen Throne Cigars.
Okay. Man. Well, JR, man, you've been getting out some good information here. You kind of glossed over good stuff like it was nothing because I guess you lived it. And I'm listening like, man, this is a hell of a story. This is an amazing story here.
You know, Lee and I have been blessed. We have a couple guys that work with us, Josh Stevens and Kevin Moss, and they're not employees. They're a couple guys that just work with us. Kevin called me or messaged me one day and said, "Hey, you're having an event up at Willie's." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm going to come up there and meet you." Well, he's been at every event since then helping us. And Josh Stevens was the same way. He just started showing up at events, and now he goes to every event helping us out. That's the way all of our customers have been. They have bought into the culture that has been grown around us. So we're just blessed by the people that are buying our cigars and posting on social media about us. That's why we're successful. It's our customers. It's not us. We have a philosophy that we're just a couple of guys that love smoking cigars that happen to own a cigar company. We try to keep that mindset that we remember what it was like to spend our hard-earned money to buy a cigar, and we expect quality cigars that are going to be flavorful and they're going to smoke well. And we keep that mindset when we ourselves are blending and having our cigars produced. So we're trying to keep it simple.
But guess what, JR? You did it. You and Lee and Noel, you did it. You have created an amazing cigar. Like I said, the cigar, I love the cigar. It's my go-to. And like I said, folks in the street, they're talking about this thing. You know, they're fighting for it. When the box is down to one cigar, it's a fight, physical fight. And if you can't fight, I wouldn't recommend you come into the humidor. But there's a physical fight if there's one cigar left, and it's the Stolen Throne, brother. All right, look, before we wrap it up, man, is there anything that I didn't maybe ask that you want to let the folks know before we wrap it up?
Well, I just want to thank everyone that does smoke our cigars. We don't take that lightly. I think I just did mention we realize that people are spending their hard-earned money to buy our cigars, and they could be buying anybody else's cigars, and we do appreciate that. And I want to thank Bob over here at North Suffolk Cigar Lounge for allowing me to use the VIP area to sit down and talk with you on this podcast. And I want to thank you, Stone, for allowing me to talk with you today.
Well, thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, you guys keep up the good work. I appreciate you being a guest. And the cigar is always going to be in my humidor. I'm letting you know that right now. Always, brother. So I'm looking forward to the Three Kingdoms. And like I said, I'm not a big Connecticut guy. I'm like you. But I'm still going to check out this Phantom Queen when it comes out. I'm going to be ready. I will be ready for you.
It'll change your mind.
And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I said. So I'm not going to prejudge and come up with anything that I think I know. I'm just going to go into it blindly and smoke it and see what I get.
It's a life changer.
Yes, sir. All right, well, folks, there you have it. JR, Stolen Throne Cigar, a guest on Smoke World. Again, folks, you can follow me on Instagram at Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com. Again, folks, I tell you this every time. The website, it's an amazing thing. smokeworldpodcast.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we appreciate you listening, and we will check you out on the other side. Peace.